Hey guys and girls, today we're going to talk about and shoot the Winchester Model 94, the very historic firearm. And this particular one is chambered in a very historic cartridge. And if you're thinking the 3240 or the 3855 or the 2535, well, those would be logical choices, but that's not what this one is chambered in. This is chambered in the very historic 357 Magnum. Now, before I get tarred and feathered, just remember the 357 Magnum was introduced in 1935. That's only 40 years after the 3030 cartridge was introduced here, and that makes it 85 years old, the 357 Magnum. So let's do some shooting real quick, and then we'll start talking about this thing. Hi, George here, and welcome to Tales from Target Suite, where I'll share my perspective on guns and shooting. And we'll spend some time at the range, and every now and then we'll reconvene out in my shop back in Houston, or here at the farm in Louisiana, where I'll build some fun projects. And we'll share an adventure or two that'll make even a grown man smile. And yes, today we are going to take a look at the 3030 Winchester, the 3030, see there? The Model 94 Winchester. This one has a 26-inch barrel, and we're going to see if the 26-inch barrel can pump new life into that 85-year-old 357 Magnum. And I've got 3 different hand loads, and I've got 3 different kinds of factory ammo, and we're just going to do some shooting. We'll talk a little bit about that as I share the published velocities for all of those. And why am I not using my chronograph, you might ask? Well, we had an incident. I shot a video for Patreon, for my patrons. And in one of those shots, I poked a hole in the face of the chronograph. And so it's been retired. Now, before you start lighting up the comments about how stupid I was, it's not what you think. And so we'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of the video, and I'll share with you what happened, because it's something for all of us to think about. But right now, let's take a look at some of the ammunition that we're going to fire today, and I'm going to let this thing cool off, because 10 quick rounds, and that barrel really heats up. Okay, I've got three kinds of factory ammo that we're going to look at today, and we're just going to shoot them. I mean, since I don't have a chronograph, I'm a little bit limited, but I think we can still have some fun, and we're going to do some reactive targets at the end and compare the standouts. But first we're going to shoot some 130 grain full metal jacket. These are 38 specials, 800 feet per second. And then I've got 357 Magnum 110 grain hollow point. And this one is at 12, published speed of 1295. And then I've got this Remington ammo that is 125 grain jacketed soft point. And it's got a published velocity of 1450 feet per second. And then I've got 3 different hand loads. I've got some hand loads with the Lehigh Defense 100 grain extreme defense round. And I'll play some B-roll here in just a second. I'll show you what all these bullets look like. And then here's the 140 grain Hornady XTP. And from the outside, and a loaded round, it looks exactly like the 158 grain XTP hollow point from Hornady. All of our hand loads are loaded in Starline brass. Okay, a lot of guys like to get a pistol a rifle and a pistol combo of the same caliber. It's convenient to have one round that'll shoot both in your handgun and also in your rifle when you're in the field. And so for today's purposes, I'm going to use my wife's Ruger SP101. It's a really nice little focus on the little, a nice little 5-shot revolver, and it shoots 38 or 357 ammo. And so I'm going to load it up just to show you guys the difference in recoil, because in the rifle, in the Winchester Model 94, we're not going to be able to see much recoil difference, except with, of course, with the 38 Special. But I'm going to put 5 rounds in here. I'm going to skip the 110 grain jacketed hollow point white box ammo from Winchester. I'm going to shoot one 38 Special. I'm going to shoot one 357 Magnum. That's the Remington 125 grain jacketed soft point. I'm going to shoot one round of Hornady XTP 140 grain and one round of Hornady XTP 158 grains, and we'll compare the recoil for each one of these. So let me go do that shooting real quick. And so we're going to start with the 38 Special. Okay, here's the Remington 357 Magnum 125 grain jacketed soft point. Now here's the 140 grain XTP 1900 feet per second. And last but not least is Hornady 158 grain XTP at about 1800 feet per second. I hope that was interesting for you. Now let's load up the same bullets in the Winchester Model 94. Let's shoot a little bit, and then we're going to set up some reactive targets as we always do. And if you'll remember, at the very end, we're going to check out the ring of fire. Okay, first we're going to shoot the 38 Specials. I'm going to shoot the first one at least without hearing protection. Yeah, I'd say that's probably right at the safety level for no hearing protection. And so I'm going to put my hearing in, and I certainly will need it for all the other rounds. But anyway, that's a really mild, as you can tell, really mild load. Okay, here's the 125 grain jacketed soft point. These are Remington factory loads. So I'm going to shoot 4 of these. This is the Extreme Defense bullet from Lehigh Defense. Nice bullet from Hornady. These are at 1900 feet per second. But that gets us back to this thing right here. And I try to produce patron only content, and I release that every 2 weeks to 4 weeks, whenever I can. And I had done a video called "The Long and the Short of It," where I was comparing velocities with a 32-inch 4570 single shot barrel and the 19.8-inch barrel of the Henry X Model 4570. And in one of those shots, I was recording speeds with every shot, and in one of those shots, things kind of went funny, and I looked down there and I could see this. And I was like, wow, did I actually shoot that chronograph? Because I heard the steel ring, and then I checked the rest of the chronograph, and everything was A-OK. And so I did not shoot the chronograph, but something from that. And I was shooting a Grizzly Plus P with a Cast Performance 405 grain hard cast gas check bullet. And once I tore everything apart and behind this screen and buried in the display, it broke the glass of the display, shattered it into a million pieces of powdery glass, was the gas check. And so the gas check came off and penetrated the front of the chronograph. And I was shooting about right here, and that gas check hit right here and destroyed my chronograph. So I've got another chronograph on the way, but not in time to make this video, and that's why we're using published data here for the velocities. But now let's get back to shooting the Model 94, and I've got it loaded with 2 rounds of the 100 grain Lehigh Defense Extreme Defense bullet at 2,200 feet per second, and I've got a soda and a cantaloupe, and we'll shoot one at each. And then we've got 2 rounds of the Hornady 140 grain XTP bullet at 1,900 feet per second, and then the last 2 shots will be the Hornady XTP 158 grain jacketed hollow point at 1,800 feet per second. And the one that seems to give us the most interesting results here, if we can make such a claim, I've got 1 watermelon left, and we're going to set it up with some water jugs, and we'll just see how much penetration we might get with one of these bullets. And don't forget about that ring of fire. Okay, well, I was a little disappointed in the reaction of the Lehigh Defense monolithic bullet. However, the Lehigh Defense Extreme Defense round really needs a liquid environment in order to create the wound channel, and so the cantaloupe doesn't have a lot of liquid in it, unlike maybe a watermelon, and certainly not like flesh or a water jug. And so even though in these shots the Lehigh Defense Extreme Defense bullet was the least energetic, I still want to shoot the watermelon with the Lehigh Defense Extreme Defense bullet and see if we get a similar kind of penetration that we did with the 4570 rounds using the Lehigh Defense bullets. And so I'm going to get set up with the last watermelon and some water jugs, and we'll see if we can capture that bullet. I hope I don't disappoint us all here by going with Lehigh Defense, but I really want to see what kind of penetration, because I suspect that the XTP bullets are going to be limited on penetration. Okay, there's the Lehigh Defense 100 grain extreme defense bullet. Let's get a shot downrange, and then as soon as we're done with that, then I'll do just a real quick wrap up, and then we'll take a look at that ring of fire. Yes! Well, there it is. It looks pretty pristine to me. And so you saw the explosive response to the extreme defense bullet. That's what I was expecting out of the watermelon. So it went through a full-size watermelon and 3 one-gallon water jugs, and it was captured in the 4th water jug. And so that's pretty darn good penetration out of a little 100 grain bullet. And so I'm not sure, it probably needs a little bit more work to make a definitive statement, but I'm impressed with a little 100 grain bullet out of the 357 Magnum. And now let's see that ring of fire, and I will see you guys, if you'll be there, in the next video.